also here to host talk shows, Find Your Own Voice, Lead From Within. With me today, I have Grant Morrell and Kamal Ima. How are you guys?
Fine and dandy. All good, thank you.
Perfect.
Awesome, awesome. So our topic today is conquer fear, don't let it control your destiny. Fear is an universal human experience. It's a very, very powerful emotion that has potential to either propel us forward or hold us back. So in this video, we're going to explore the various effects of fear, understanding its origin, and mostly importantly, learn how to conquer it. Your destiny should not be dictated by fear, rather it should be shaped by your courage and resilience. So let's embark on this journey to conquer fear and reclaim control over our lives. Over to you, Grant or Kamal, whoever wants to go first. What do you think about this topic, guys?
Great topic. Great topic. Because fear is something that's present in all of our lives in certain ways. I think many people live their life in fear. In fact, as a behavior profiler, as I am, we look around and you see fear in people all the time, in their language, their voice. I had occasion to go out with some friends I hadn't seen for years on Saturday night. And we went out and we just interacting, talking to people. And in people's everyday language, you hear fear, muffled fear in their voices, their hopes, their looks. So fear is present in all of us. And I think the greatest job we can give to people is to give them confidence and help to allay their fears. Because when they do that, they become more open, more present. They give more of their heart and their soul. And most importantly, they enjoy this journey through this thing we call life. So I think it's a fantastic subject. What about you, Kamal? What's your thoughts on today's subject?
I mean, fear exists, like you said, right? It's you hear it in the voices, you see it in people's behaviors, in their body language, how they express themselves, and but not only that, you see it in the actions of their daily lives, who they um, meet, who they sit with, who they surround themselves with, right? And I think it's something very important to talk about, since some of these fears are deeply rooted, others are uh, surface related and can be managed in a way where um, everything can be simple. I think um, there was this story that was told to me by my mentor, and it never it never left me. And it's about being afraid but doing things anyway.
Mm.
I'll tell the story during the chat, but I think it's a very relevant subject, and this is quite an important matter to tackle.
Love that, Kamal, being afraid and do it anyway.
Yeah.
That's my story. I know I'm afraid inside, but I'm just gonna do it anyway. Because if I don't do it, one way, or if I don't take any action, fear will keep creeping in and creeping in. And I also like it when you say fear can be seen through our behavior and through our body language as well. And most of all, if we don't do anything about it, and the fear will always be there, and then we wouldn't be able to actually move forward. So it's very, very important to understand that fear is something that there are some people who are fearless. They will just go and do anything, but they will show a fearless, but inside they know that they don't know the tomorrow. Like Kamal is your slogan. There's no guarantee for tomorrow. So let's just get on with it. Because if I fear today, if I fear to enter a relationship, what's going to happen tomorrow? If I fear to go for that promotion and that I want, is somebody else who's going to go and get it. So I might as well do it anyway. So I always say to people, do it anyway. Because if you don't do it, somebody else will do it. Over to you, Grant.
Thank you. Yep, it's a wonderful subject. It's a book by Susan Jeffers, if I remember correctly. Feel the fear and do it anyway. It certainly is a great personal development classic. And I think when we look at this, it's often worth looking at what is fear in its first place. I read a book. I'm crazy about aviation, and I read a book, and it had a verse from the Bible, and I think it was from Corinthians 14 or 16, and it said, "The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death." Okay, and it was fear. It was about fear, and you talk an awful lot about what fear is. It's often said that the fear stands for four letters, which is FEAR. In other words, false evidence appearing real. Okay. We often fear about things that is false anyway. We worry about things. I've said it on this show many times that Mark Twain once famously said, in life, we worry about many things. Some of them actually come true. That was his ironic way of saying that the vast majority of things we worry about, the vast majority of things we fear, actually never materialize. So why are we giving ourselves such a hard time? And it often is. And as we know, once we get to that thing, it changes. How many times have you feared, that big interview, that big conversation, when you get there, it's cancelled. It doesn't happen. And they say, oh, no, we're not going to do that. And it glosses. And oh my God, I was so stressed and so worried. I was so fearful of this. And it didn't happen. And some things happened to me on my very early part of personal development. And I think I once said that the first personal development event I ever went to happened to be an Anthony Robbins event. So it was a very, very big, full-on event. And that was my baptism of fire. And one of the questions that they asked you there was, whatever you're worried about, whatever you're fearful of, the problems that you have, even if you want to quit, ask yourself this: will it be a problem in 5 years' time? And in many cases, the answer is no. So in which case, just get it in proportion. It's not really a problem at all. Often it's about the language that you choose to use around this thing. So he said he knew someone who was very successful. And when everybody would be very, very upset, there was a major problem in his business, he would say, I'm a little peeved. So he would just negate the whole thing. I'm a little bit upset, I'm a little bit peeved about that. He wouldn't make a big problem. There used to be an advertisement on British TV for an insurance company. Okay, an insurance company. And if you have a leak in the house or a crash in the car, yeah, oh God, you want to deal with it as efficiently as possible. And their slogan was, we will not make a drama out of a crisis. Okay, and I thought that was great. So if all hell was breaking loose, we're just, okay, let's deal with the facts, and we'll just do that. And it's a very nice way of just chunking it down into a bite-sized chunk. The language we use is very, very important. The way we choose to communicate with ourselves is very important. Is it a problem or is it a challenge? An opportunity to grow? Is it one of these things? I know we all get days when things upset us. Okay. We're all human, we do. But if you can recognize what's going on and just, hey, what's going on with me here? I'm feeling fearful. And we all get it. But what I sometimes do is I ask myself, I feel frightened. What am I afraid of? What is it? Oh, yeah, I'm afraid that's going to go wrong. Okay. So ask myself a better question. If it does, can I avoid that going wrong? Yeah, it's a bit late. Did I leave that a bit late? Okay. So what have I learned? I don't like this feeling. How can I reduce this? Perhaps be a little better prepared. Yeah, that would feel better, wouldn't it? Perhaps I need to learn a lesson there. Maybe I can't help it this time, but I don't want this feeling again. So maybe I can prepare myself to feel a little less scared next time. Because if I'm prepared, there's less to fear. because there's less chance of it going wrong. Maybe it's a simple thing like that. Or maybe it's, well, if it does go wrong, if it's something that's outside of my control, and that's what stress often is. Stress is often when it's a situation you can't control. If you think, oh my God, there's someone's going to slip over and fall outside. Yeah, it's okay. I'll just put that hazard cone out. You can control that situation. Then you're not stressed. You're not fearful. But if you can't do that and there's impending doom, and if you get one, your hands are almost tied, you can't. That's when it becomes stressful because you are out of control. You cannot control the situation. So you can ask yourself, what could I do to be in more control of the situation? Once you start to ask yourself those questions, make a list of things to do those things, quite often that fear reduces. I'm not saying goes, but it goes from this overwhelming level to a very manageable level. And that's a nice place to be.
I think that's really interesting what you're saying about that last bit, right? Where that reduction of fear, it doesn't disappear in a sense because it's there. It's there to aid us, right? It's something innate in our DNA, right?
Mm-hmm.
And most oftentimes, I think based on what you're explaining here and what I've seen and experienced myself, it's a lot of people are afraid of. I mean, these fears are what keep people in a comfort zone. It prevents you from growth. It prevents you from exploring new opportunities and, to put it in a different way, taking risks, in life that can lead to growth and wonderful experiences, right? So yeah, that's part of the thing that I'm thinking about when we're talking about fear and how it controls our lives. And it's another part where I think the best way is, which is not simple, is letting go. I mean, the question that can be asked as well, because we always, or we as human beings, we tend to dramatize things and push them to, oh, this is the worst thing that can happen. But if you take the time and actually think, what is the worst that could happen in that situation? And you come up with the worst idea. And I'm saying, have a PhD in chaotic and end of life situations, right? Think of it in the worst possible thing that could happen in that situation where you fear. And so what is it that you're fearing in that stage? You'll realize that it's really nothing at all. Obviously, I'm not talking about deep phobias and deeply rooted traumatizing fears, right? In most cases, it's not really, the worst that can happen is not that bad.
Good point. Very good. Yeah.
So, but like you said, recognizing these fears, understanding them, and just shifting that mindset to, uh, instead of anticipating the worst, well, why not anticipate the best that could come out of it? And what if it doesn't happen? So, well, as they say in sales, a no means next opportunity. It's simply that. It's the next opportunity. I think one of the questions that I've had a couple of times, especially when I had limited contracts, like a 1-year contract or things like that, around the end, people would ask me, they were stressed for me. And they're like, what are you going to do? I said, what do you mean? Was that your contract ends? Are you looking for a job? Did you find a new job? Are there opportunities available for you? So like, are you worried? Then, well, I'm concerned for you. I'm worried, yeah, for you. I said, I'm not worried. How can you be not worried? I said, because things sort themselves out.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen to me? I've paid my taxes. Well, the worst that will happen is I'll be on welfare for a bit. So what?
Yes, it's very, very true. My father used to say, yeah, it will all sort itself out in the end. And it always works out for the best.
It does.
And it usually does. You may not see it at that moment, but things normally do. So yeah, if we learn to relax a little bit more, and of course, if you do relax, you're giving out a better energy. You attract more opportunities straight away by doing a much better way to be. But really good point, actually. Really, really good point. Nomsa, what are your thoughts around fear?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Relax. When you have problems, like Kamal is saying that people worry about him end of the contract, because at the end of the day, if you are, I've noticed with myself, since me and Fear, we've divorced a long time ago, so I don't worry about fear. I don't worry about things anymore. I never did before when I was in Africa, but when I came to UK, I joined the club of worrying and you name it, because people judging me, saying I'm not normal and things. So I don't know, if subconsciously I ended up joining it, but I divorced it very quickly. I agree with Kamal when you say these fears, they put us in our comfort zone, which is true. If you focus on fear, you cannot do anything, because you focus on that, the things that you cannot do. But whatever comes in our lives, there's a reason for it. Look at the situation. I always say, like, we are the creator of our destiny. We write our destiny how we want. But as we are writing, designing that destiny, problems will show up. But when they show up, or sometimes we might need to make a decision that makes us out of our comfort zone, which is fine. And also, I like it, Grant, when you say, don't make drama out of crisis. See it as an opportunity to grow. I think that is important. Whenever we see ourselves in a situation, fear. Actually, this topic caused divorce in my life because my ex, he couldn't get it why I could not worry about things. But deep down in my heart, when we are faced with problems, I will just hand it over to God, because I know that in my heart, there are some things that I have control over, but there are some things that I don't. Or sometimes that I'll make a decision, and when I say I'm gonna do this, and he will look at me and say, "Nomsa, you are just dreaming. Are you for real?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, I am for real. I can do this because my dad trained me. My dad said, just close your eyes and just go for what you want. Just imagine saying yes and just go for it." And I was like, if you don't do it, no one will do it. So I just took that advice, and my stepdad said the same thing. I just close my eyes and say, I'm going to do this. And when I open my mouth and say, I'm going to do this, by the time somebody comes and try to stop me, I have already made a relationship with that fear, whatever the decision that I'm making. I have already made a relationship with my decision, and meaning you can't stop me. I'm just going to have to go for it. And also, it gives you power when you actually make a decision without fear. It gives you power to understand you more, and to understand how you make decisions, and to explore, because our mind is all about imagination. Imagine if somebody comes in here and say, okay, Noms, I have a business proposition. Would you like to go for it? First of all, I have to see if it makes sense. Is it my values and my beliefs? And then I'm like, sure, let's go for it. And I don't see a reason why I shouldn't go for my destiny if it makes sense, if it aligns with everything. Relationship wise, there are some people who are single, they'll tell you, I've been rejected. Uh, uh, because of that rejection, I cannot enter a relationship. There is no point, there's no good man. Or you find some people, they'll be like, mostly Africans, they'll tell you they have this job that they have selected. They'll tell you, as an African person, you cannot do this kind of job, you cannot do that. I'm like, how did that work out? And then, like, because of racism, people are racist in the UK and you name it. But I'm like, but in Africa, if you go to Africa, there's racism. It's not just UK only. You go to Africa, you'll find black people that are racist. You'll find white people that are racist. So I'm like, so how did you figure that out? So I'm like, you can do anything as long as you can tolerate it. You can do it. Color does not define you. Whatever your background, where you come from, it doesn't define you. But there's one thing that you have to do is just be fearless and just get on with it. Because most of it is making excuses. And also, if we've been rejected, this person that has rejected us, did they actually reject us or they rejected their destiny? So, but if you don't know that, for me, I used to get wound up, honestly, with men when men tells me they go into confused.com, the relationship end up in a way that I don't expect. I used to get wound up. But when I started getting into personal development, that's when I realized actually this person has their own problems. And when they fear, they say, this is not the relationship that I want. It's not because there is something I've done wrong. It's just they're not ready to enter a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
They just, maybe they're scared of something, or they just need to deal with some things back from their childhood attachment or habit. But if you don't know, you get sucked up into that club where you think you're not good enough, you are this, and then you start fearing moving forward. That's how I see life anyway, that we create our own destiny. People enters our lives, they enter our lives, they teach us a lesson, but it does not mean that life mustn't go on. Life must go on. Over to you, Grant.
Thank you. Really good points. Really, really good points. Teaching ourselves lessons. And let's have a look at another aspect of fear. Some fear is good. Yeah. Some fear is instinctive. And look back. Some things we are instinctively afraid of. We are afraid of fire. Good. You should be. It's dangerous. It could hurt you. So don't say, "Hey, I'm not afraid of fire." No, you should be afraid of fire. Don't put your finger in a flame. Yes, it will hurt you. It will harm you. So to have a healthy amount of fear of this. I'm a pilot, and people say, "Oh, you're not afraid of flying." I said, "No, I'm not afraid of flying. I have a healthy fear of crashing, but I'm not afraid of flying's fine. Flying's great. Flying's not the scary part. But I have a degree of fear around crashing, which helps to focus my attention. There's some things you must do to avoid crashing. Okay. So it's really important that I respect that and I have a degree of fear, so that I think, be careful, these key points you must not, a pilot will know what I'm talking about. There's certain things you must do. Yeah. Should you be a little bit cautious, have a tinge of fear when crossing the road? Yeah, I think that would be a good thing. But it shouldn't be sustained fear, but focus your attention. Look left, look right, look left again. Oh, it depends which country you're in, where the traffic's coming from. It may be the other way. But you look and you just make that judgment. Is it good? That traffic, that car in front, when it looks a little bit too close, you get that tinge of fear. That's good. That will make you apply the brakes and step and come back a little bit where you should have been in the first place. That's healthy, but it's rational fear. And that's a good thing. So short-term, rational, it's guided. It's what's kept you alive. It's part of your DNA. That's good. And fear also, at moments of fear will then give you adrenaline, and adrenaline, of course, gives you extra blood pressure, extra oxygen. That gives you adrenaline, which means it gives you a spurt of blood into the muscles, which means you can run faster. If you do walk around the corner, a car speeds around the corner, but it should. It will make you move faster and get out the way. That's useful. Okay. If that wild tiger starts to chase you, fear will fill your muscles with adrenaline. And yes, you will be able to run faster than you've ever run in your life. Very fortunate at that moment in time. That's a good thing. So fear can be good, but irrational fear isn't. So learn to understand the different kinds of fear and play with it. Okay. And it's often said for war heroes, they say, "Oh, you aren't afraid," and they often say, "No, we're afraid, but we can sustain that fear for a little bit longer than most people." Okay, it's a thing that some people can and can't do. Or going back to what Kamal said, they can feel fear but do it anyway. Okay, and it's a whole depth of understanding of these things. But yeah, it's okay. Another way to approach these things can be exposure to the thing that you're afraid of. So if you can be non-afraid for this length of time, but just after that you get afraid, if you keep exposing yourself to that fear, as long as if it's an irrational fear, if you expose yourself to it, next thing, instead of being unfearful for this length of time, you'll be able to be without fear for this length of time. And then the next time, that length of time. And you start to stretch it. And after a while, you think, what was I afraid? How many times have you ever done a job, a role, maybe even done a show like this or something, and you've been a bit afraid the first time, maybe even the second time, and a bit more the third time. But after 4 or 5 times, it's really no big deal at all. I remember as a kid going swimming and diving off of a diving board. You know, standing at the edge and looking at the deep water. It seems deeper for some reason. You think it's going to suck you under. Your mind imagines all this stuff that isn't true. And I remember distinctly going from a low board to a medium board and then to a high board. Oh my God. And I went to the high board for weeks on end, and I'd stand and other kids would run in front of me and jump off. And I feel so humiliated that they would do it so effortlessly. And even when it came near me, I would hold on to the side thinking I was going to somehow be sucked over. And I'd be so fearful. And weeks after weeks, I'd go and stand near the edge with my toes over the edge, with my toes gripping the edge in case I accidentally slipped. Looking and thinking, what would happen? You would imagine you'd hit your head, you'd be unconscious, you would be trapped. Even though there's lifeguards there, my father was right next to me. I was still fearful. And I go home shamefaced after weeks and weeks and weeks. And eventually, somehow, I just let myself jump in. And it was no real big deal. Because, of course, I practiced it 1,000 times in my mind. It was way worse than I thought. And I realized the moment I hit the water, I was going to scramble to the top. So by the time I hit the water, I was only under there for a few seconds because I was up pretty damn quickly and holding on to the side. And I thought, was that it? Was that the big deal? So what did I do? I raced back up the steps and did it again and again. And then my father said, that's enough for one day. Let's go home. I couldn't wait to do it again. I said, I want to go back next week. I don't want to lose that, let's do it. What I'd feared was nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. Nowhere near as bad. And the same thing played later. I told you I learned to fly. Love flying. I've been obsessed with it since I was 5 years old. Came to a point when I actually was doing flying lessons. I was on the other side of the world. I was in a foreign country and I was taking flying lessons. And it's all fine and dandy. You're there with a flying instructor. And gradually they will say a little bit less and a little bit less. And rather than telling you to do it, they will then start saying, I said, when shall I do that? I said, I don't know. You tell me. They want your judgment skills. Oh my God, now I've got to make decisions and calculate things. And then you've got a whole more workload. At this point, your brain is full of thoughts because you're not just flying, you're not just aviating, you're communicating and you're navigating at the same time. And it's just brain overwhelm. And you think, I must be the worst pilot on earth. I will never get the hang of it. It's suddenly the workload has got so hard. Yeah, it's like that for about an hour or so. And then suddenly you look down and your hands and feet are moving. You're talking on the radio. And you think, what? Who's doing that? And you realize it's you. The fear has gone and it's just become motor memory and you can do it. And then they say, yeah. And you know what's happening. They get quieter and quieter until one day you come in and you make a landing with the instructor and they get out and they just, oh, I'm just going to check something. And they're just, hey, you know what? I'm going to go and have a coffee. Just take it around once. And then when you land, we go and have a coffee together. And you're like, oh my God, they're sending you solo. There's no one to save you. And there was all these talks about the playing field was lighter and different. And I was, how different would it feel without an instructor? Well, I don't know why I even bothered telling you that, because when I did it, I hardly noticed any difference at all. And I sat on the edge of the runway, having paid a lot of money for flying lessons, and I was going to take off. And I remember sitting there fearful, thinking, Grant, why do you make life so hard for yourself? You know, my friends don't do this. They've saved a fortune of money and they're at home enjoying it. I've spent a fortune to scare myself senseless. And I'm sitting there. I've wanted this all my life. It's just am I going to die? Am I going to kill myself? And I'm paid for the pleasure of this. Am I the most stupid person on earth? And I sat there and I thought, could I just close the engine and not do it, or just do it? And the instructor said, don't do anything fancy. Just make a really boring circuit. A lap is called a circuit. A really boring fundamental. Come down and have a coffee. And they say it in the most casual manner. And I thought, oh my God. Look, hang on. I've done it with him so many times. If I just do and keep it really boring and simple, what can go wrong? And I just opened the throttle and went. And the next thing I knew, I was in the air. I thought, oh. And I remember the first shocking moment was as I was flying, you do a pre-landing check. Okay, there's a series of things and one of the things is harnesses and hatches. Yeah, harnesses and hatches, low, tight, and secure. And I said, "How about your hatchet?" And I looked, and the seat's empty. I was like, "Oh my God, there's no one there. It's just me." That was the first time it really dawned on me. It's just me. I thought, pay no attention to that. Just land a damn plane. And I thought, don't do anything unusual. Just make it normal, boring, and simple, and just damn well concentrate. If you give it my whole concentration, it won't go wrong. And I did. And I got the plane down. And then the funny part happened. You walk into the hangar. I said, oh, everyone acts super casual when they come out. Like nothing's like, oh, okay. Oh, they just need to sign your logbook. They're in the hangar. Just go and sign it in the hangar. And as you walk in there, suddenly everyone appears from nowhere with buckets of water and throw buckets of water. Yeah. And my instructor run up with a hose pipe and put it down my trousers. And it's everybody takes photos, and that's your initiation. And it's all great fun. But there you are. You just have to get over that initial bit of fear, because when you realize you've been training to do it, they're not going to let you go and kill yourself. They know that you're ready. And all they're asking for you to do is the basics, nothing fancy. But it's how you manage that fear. And I had to rationalize that in myself to realize they're not going to kill you. They would be closed down if they're killing pilots all the time. You know, they've analyzed me. They've had conversations behind my back to see what I'm good at, what I'm bad at, and realize that he's good enough to do this. He's sensible enough to do it. He knows the procedures. They looked at wind conditions. Yeah, it's okay. If it's certain days, they wouldn't let you go. So I had to rationalize it and realize I just had to do the basics and just focus, and it would be fine. And that was all there was to it. And of course, it was only a matter of time, little bit of time. Then I was making landings and takeoffs on my own, and I got bored with them. I wanted to get over the fear of landing. So I went up and filled the plane full of fuel and went up for 2.5 hours, takeoff and landing, takeoff. In the end, I was getting so bored with ordinary takeoff and landings, I was only doing high performance takeoff and landings, because that gave me something to think about. The rest was so boring. And when I landed, I think I landed because otherwise I'd get dizzy going around the circle. I landed and they said, how do you feel? I said, yeah, I'm fine with that now. No problem at all. I'd conquered the fear. And I think that was a good lesson in life. Rationalize it, have conversations with yourself, and know that the people around you have made the safety checks. As long as you've done that, I think there's little to fear about.
I like that. I like that anecdote of yours because it's factual, right? It's an explanation to our audience that our fears are emotions. That's all they are, right? They are emotions, feelings willing to be expressed externally, right? And they do play a critical role in shaping our life's perspective, our future, and every step of the way. Um, it's they're all based around different things. Now, you had certain fears, obviously, and you conquered them, but that there's the surface fear, and then there is the undercover fears, right? The fear of past failures, for instance, maybe not related to it. Fears of social norms, social judgment, people around you. How will they see? How will they perceive me? What will they say? What will they do? Fear of the unknown, of course. And worst of all is the fear of success. What will happen to me when I do that right? Right? And
Right.
and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that story puts it all into perspective. I remember I didn't do something quite fancy, but I went on a 14,000 feet skydive
Wow.
in New Zealand. And I went up and they check your pulse before you jump to make sure that you're okay and everything. At least the person that's strong behind you. And I was smiling, and a couple more that they were a little bit scared, and I was making jokes, funny faces to the video that was recording. And the guy behind me asked me, "Aren't you afraid? Your pulse is very stable." I was like, what do I be afraid about? This is fun. I can't wait to do that. And he's like, yeah, but like, what if the parachute doesn't open? And then you have a second parachute. What if the second parachute doesn't open? Well, there's the guy that has the cameraman. What if nothing works and we fall? Is it? Well, we fall and we die. There's not much I can do about it. He laughed and he looked at me. I said, I've never had anybody like that. I said, this is not, I want to enjoy this. And
Good.
the shoot was amazing because I was smiling the whole time. I was not yelling. I was like, yeah. So I know that feeling, and I've had it with the diving board several times as well. Well, not several times. I was quick because I learned how to like dive in the pool when I was 6. I
Good.
remember first time I was thrown into the pool, old school, learn how to swim, thrown into the deep end without floaties at the age of 4. Right in the middle, swim. Swam back, and that was it for me. So, and then
No.
after that, I did diving from the normal board, the jumping one, and then we had like it was the 3, 5, and then 3, 5, 7, and 10 meters, I think it is. Um, wasn't it? So, or 2, 2, 5, 7. I don't know. I can't remember. That's the diving boards that we had. And first floor easy, second floor easy, third floor easy, fourth floor. That looks high. What if I jump and I go past there's, everything seems smaller and you can't, you have that feeling that, will I be able to just fall there? Then once you do it, you get over it. But these stories, of course they are for the amusement of you guys watching us, but they're also to express that our emotions don't have to control us. Our fears don't have to control our destiny. There are certain things that we can control in our life and other things that are completely out of our control. Like Grant was saying, the only way to get over these fears is to have a healthy approach to exposing yourself to them. I think the first fear of everything, like the grandest fear, is the fear of death. A lot of people are afraid of that. And then the second one is agoraphobia, public speaking. And the only way to expose yourself to public speaking or to get over that fear is to try it once, twice, 3 times, and just do it bit by bit. And for those of you who don't know me or probably will not believe, I am an introvert. I like my seclusion, but I've learned to become an extrovert by exposing myself to getting outside of that shell. And I can speak publicly. I do presentations, I do trainings. I have nothing. This doesn't bother me at all. On the contrary, it gives me a lot of boost. However, once all of that is done, I run home, close my blinds, close my doors. I don't want to speak to anybody. That's my introvert coming back, like, let me breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's not fear anymore that controls me of being in public. It's just me wanting to relax because my energy has been depleted and I need to regain more energy to be able to be in front of others and speak. And so these fears can affect our major, and they're usually about major choices in life, whether it's career choices, relationships. And instead of having our choices based on fear, rather than a genuine interest and desire to do something, it makes a massive difference in how our life is managed and how our destiny goes along. You wanted to do something. You wanted to get on a plane, and I believe you started with the Cessna, was it that you started
Yeah.
off with?
Yes,
Yeah,
it
cool.
was, yeah.
My dad was into,
Actually, I started gliding before I did that. Yeah.
you did
Gliding.
gliding as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad was into aviation. Like he always wanted to be a pilot, but he back then he couldn't because of he has eyesight problems and stuff like that. So I grew up seeing him playing the what's it called? The simulator, the real the flight simulator, the real one. And he was doing, and he, you know what, he wouldn't skip the flight. So he would fly from, let's say, Paris to New York in actual time.
Right.
He does not skip it. He would let the plane fly for those 8, 9, 10 hours.
Wow.
He was
Wow.
seriously into it. I had to buy him as a gift one of those. I bought him because I bought him one of those joysticks with flight joysticks, right? Um, because he was so much into it. And he had every keyboard had a shortcut to every single thing, and he had his list of checklists and every, like a proper pilot. I'm pretty sure if you put him on a plane, he'll be able to fly it.
He probably would actually. Yeah, he probably just it it especially a proper simulator, not a game. A proper simulator does bridge the gap quite well.
Yeah,
I mean, okay, there are some slight
there
differences,
are differences, obviously.
but it's a very good simulation.
Yeah,
It,
no, so these are the things that we're talking about. It's fear can control you. It can be a decision maker for you. It can be fear can be feared, so you can fear your fear. And or as we always say, you can make a choice. You can make a choice to move forward. You can make a choice to make decisions based on your interests and what you value in life so that fear doesn't control that. You can celebrate these tiny victories that you make so that you push away fear of the unknown, fear of the failure, so that you can move on and have positive um, a positive view on that fear. Obviously, cautiousness. Now, I call it cautiousness. I don't call it fear. That's important.
good language.
That be cautious in life. Don't take unnecessary risks. Not even like you can be the healthy fear that we're talking about. I call it be cautious. That's all. So, and if you take these steps slowly, slowly, they're they'll be manageable. Remember, the comfort zone is here, and you don't have to step outside of that zone by 10 miles. You just have to put 1 foot outside. That's it. Put 1 foot outside and then bring it back. The same thing as, let's say you've never run a marathon. You're not going to just stress up and go and start running 10K or 15K on your own straight away. The first thing you have to do is take it easy. Like put on the clothes that you're going to wear. Do you feel comfortable in them? Yeah, you feel comfortable. You want new ones? Go and buy new ones. Go buy a new pair of trainers. and then come back home, put them on, feel them, and then just open the door one day and go outside. Just outside your door. You don't have to run. Just move your legs a bit. Take step by step. Yeah, feels okay. I go back inside. Slowly, slowly, step by step. And so the same thing in martial art. That's since I'm a karate instructor. When we have new students, especially older students, students that are above 40 and 50, they're always concerned about like, oh, am I doing this right? Do I have to no like this? And no, I'm not doing it right. I need to practice more. I tell them, forget about that. Your body is not used to that. You're concerned with how you're going to look. You're concerned with not doing it right. You're concerned with wanting to do it right. And you're concerned about what you will do in your graduation, like your exam in 6 months' time. All of that doesn't matter for me at this stage. At this stage, I just want your body to get used to making movements that it doesn't know. It's not coordinated to do these movements. So just do things, do them wrong, slowly, slowly. You're watching, you're practicing, your body will get, your muscles will learn, your brain will learn these movements, and suddenly you'll be doing them. And like you said, wait, I'm flying the plane. When did I manage to do that on my own? The same thing happens. At anything that we're starting to learn, at any point, here's a question. When can you say, this is the time that I knew how to do this? It's a very fine line. It's like very fine between I don't know how to do it and, oh, now I can do it. So the same thing with martial arts and the same thing with fear and the same thing with our destiny. Things happen that you can't control, that you learn through them, that you process, that you progress, that you push yourself slowly, bit by bit, by doing things outside of that comfort zone, outside of the fear area. And at some point, you'll be like, huh, I know how to do this. When did I actually learn it? When did I know that I could do it?
That's the point. When did I know that I could do it?
Yeah.
Learned it long before that, but you didn't know that you learned it. Yeah,
Exactly, right. So I think that's my opinion and how I see things and how we can let that fear be healthy, be it cautious if we change it, and not let it control our destiny, I guess. Nomsa?
Self. Yeah, I agree with you. I like it, Kamal, when you say we fear a judgment, social judgment. We fear most of, I think I was talking about this yesterday, that most of the time the fear that people have is never about them. They can't do it. They worried about other people. What if I do this and it doesn't turn out the way it should be? People gonna judge me, or family, or social media. And if I can tell you, like 99% of people don't really catch up with what you're doing. I do things on social media. Sometimes I got people that are following me on social media. They will message me sometimes and they'll be asking me, what do you do for work? And I'm like, are you being serious? How long have you been following me on social media? And they're like, yeah, but I've never really checked your profile. And I'm like, oh, okay. So you see, if you don't know, you will be worrying about what people think. And not everyone really, there are some people who really, really care about you. They follow you up, they do, even family members. There are some who really have so much problems that they don't really know what you get up to. So what I can say is when you do things, just don't worry about people. For me, what I do is I check with God if we are on the good side. If He agrees with my decisions that I'm doing, then I have to pray for my abilities to come to light. Whatever I'm doing, I have to check in with Him. If I check in with them, sometimes I'll take 2 weeks or 1 week if I'm making a really, really big decision. Like with the boot camp, it's a big decision that I decided that we need to do it. But right now, I'm in a position where now I'm saying to God, I need my ability, I need my gift. If there's a limitation within my gift, I need that to come up, to show up. And because I know it's a big decision and I also need the guidance for him to guide me through. But if I was to go and ask somebody else, they'll tell me 20 reasons why it cannot happen, why I shouldn't be doing it, why it's not right, and things like that, or maybe do it on Zoom. But for me, I'm like, okay, I'm fearing anyway, God, I don't know where I'm going, but you know the future, you know what's going to happen tomorrow. So can you actually guide me through life? That is the one thing that I can tell you guys, for those who are out there wanting to make this big decision. See, Grant, he went and did his pilot lessons. He did it anyway. He was scared. He didn't know how is it going to come out. He judged himself at the first and saying, you know, there are some people who are they're spending some of their money somewhere else, but you are spending this money. But guess what, Grant? At least you're spending money of training something that you can learn, and then you die and look back and say, I've done that, hallelujah. But instead of putting that money in the bank, and when you're gone, they fight for it anyway. That's why I always say to people, do whatever you can while you're on earth. Because if you say, I'm not going to go on holiday, I'm going to put the money away, or I'm going to do this, or buy a big house that you don't really need. And when you die, the first thing, the day they bury you, the family, they forget the love that they have for you, or the love that you have for each other. They start fighting for the money. So might as well go on holiday, or like a scuba. Is it scuba diving? Skydiving? Come on. It's
Oh,
scary.
I did both. I did scuba and I did sky.
It's both. It's crazy. Martin loves it. I just honestly, when he goes, we normally go with him, and then he'll go and do it, and I'm like, this is scary. But I come to like it now because the people that are there, they're so nice and so calm as well. They're really, really calm. So I don't know how you guys keep yourself calm. They're like, they get excited, but it looks so scary. So I like it. I might do it one day, who knows? But guess what? If you're doing it, if it is the activity that you love to do, just do it. Because if you look at the money, you'll be like, if I pay this money, it's not cheap, it's expensive. By the end of the day, just do it anyway, because it's your life. Enjoy the moment. People always say, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this. And I'm like, if I was to ask you for money now, you will give me this money that you don't want to spend because you say you can't do it. But if someone else asks you, they have problems, you help them. So you might as well do whatever you want to do. If it's the business that you want to start, just go for it. You need skills, learn the skills. It doesn't matter how old you are, just do it anyway. If you can pray for God to give you the abilities, the knowledge, and what else can you do? And to be greater, you can do all these things and just go for what you want. Business-wise, you get to design the life that you want. Challenges, there might be barriers, but you're dealing with them anyway. So barriers are everywhere. It comes to marriage, there will be problems. You just have to deal with it. If you don't get married anyway, you stay single, problems come. Might as well get married, or might as well stay there and find a lover and just have fun. Or if you don't travel, somebody else will travel for you when you are underground. Might as well enjoy it. No fear, without the fear. So that is my thing, that actually life, we have to create it. No one can create it for us. It's our destiny. We've got to do it. For me, because of my attitude, the more I do things, the more I make my own decision. It makes me unpopular. I'm not a popular person, but before, when I agreed with everybody else, I was very, very popular. But now that I make my own decision, when somebody comes in, if I do something and tell people that this is I'm doing, they call me crazy, they call me that, they call me that, and then I don't become popular. And then when I do it, when I succeed, they come back and say, wow, we're very proud of you. We always knew you could do this. I'm like, liar.
Wait a second. I actually disagree with you, Nomsa. It's not true. You are popular. You're popular with your children. You're popular with your husband. You're popular with your family, and you're popular with us. So you don't need more than that, really.
I know, Kamau. I was actually praying that day and I saying to God, and God was showing me that whatever I'm asking Him to do, like I was asking, praying about the boot camp, and I was asking Him to release, to give me the keys to release in the realm of the spirit where success is locked up. I need my success. I'm tired of these limiting beliefs. I need my portion of my wealth. So and then I'm like I was asking for my inheritance, the wisdom, the spirit of wisdom, divine wisdom for my inheritance, for my intelligence. What else did I ask for? I was asking for so many things, and then he was like, I will feel with the Holy Spirit saying, you do realize what you are asking. It does not require you to be popular, as long as we know where we stand in that part. That whatever you are asking right now, it will require you to stand tall. Some people may not agree with the decision that you make. So I was like, I'm good with that, Holy Spirit. I'm good with that. So I don't know when is He gonna give me what I've asked for, but I've put myself out there to say, hey, my intelligent, I could do more with my intelligent. I could do more with my this, with my talent. I could do more, but I need you to give me the key in that realm of the spirit so I can unleash whatever God gave to me. And if there's any barriers that is causing a limitation, take it away. I don't want it. So, and then I realized actually, and he was like revealing that you do know that you're not going to be popular. I was like, yeah. So that is, you guys are my family, Kamau. So I don't see you guys. I don't need to be popular with you guys. Honestly, yeah, you're my family. You're part of family. There are some people that I don't really want, even when I praise, like God, when I ask you for this, I'm asking for the umbrella of my family. So you guys are part of my family. I know that if I'm doing something, you guys will support me, whatever is happening. But there are some people who might not agree and say, you can't do this, you can't do this. Like yesterday, I was talking to this guy, I met this guy. So we come to a talk, and she goes, no, sir, as I'm talking to you right now, you do realize that you might have to make a decision for your business to take the path where you're meant to take. So I was like, no, I don't actually. And he goes, why? So I was like, I have lots of people who can run my business if I feel like I need to move away. I said that part I have a family, so I don't have to worry about it. So he was like, now then he's asking me about the throne. If you were to go and claim the throne, which throne would you claim? And I was like, I'll claim the throne of God and not my family. So it was like, okay, you know everything you're doing. I was like, no, I don't. I was like, I'm just following the Holy Spirit. I don't feel like that throne is the throne that I want. So after I left, and I was asking myself, why is this guy asking me these questions? Because it's not the question. We were talking about business, and we're talking. I had a meeting with him, so we're going through the conversation, and he says, no, sir, the way I'm asking you and I think the same. Is an English guy, half Italian, half English, because we're thinking the same. But now that I'm talking to you now, I'm realizing you have a matchmaking business and go to talk shows. but that your gift is more than that. So what would you do? And I was like, I've got family that can run my business. That party, I've never doubted it. I think God has already showed me that I don't need to worry about it. And when it comes to the throne, I was like, I don't need to worry about that as well. So I wouldn't have to, I don't want to be a princess anyway. It's a nightmare. So I was like, it's a throne that I wouldn't want to take. And I was like, okay, as long as we know where we stand. I was like, yeah, we know where we stand. So I know you guys that I have decisions that I might have to take in the future, but I know that I have you guys as my family. You can have my back and you can run my company if I'm not around, which you guys already do anyway. So, and Kamau, you guys are going to get involved to help Spring Eternal as well. So I know that if I don't have to be around, I don't have fear in that part. So, which is that is part of life. But, and also what I have decided to do, somebody like there was another energy that was trying to manipulate it because I'm asking God to give me the wisdom with my life, my intelligence. I need everything that I deserve to show up for me. And I was like, 1,000 days of meditating. I'm on the maybe 20 something days now, but I need to go 1,000 days meditating with God, fasting. Never done it before. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't know how it's going to look like when I'm done. I don't fear anything, but I'm excited about it. But with the talent, because I've done the 70 days and I came out with abilities to dance more. I don't know if I've told you guys. I did 70 days meditating, asking for my abilities. I came out with the abilities of doing the SEO. And I was sitting in front of the computer. Yeah, I was sitting in front of the computer and the I was so frustrated. I think it was the fifth guy that I was asking, can you go and do my SEO on YouTube? And he was like, charging the money that is so crazy. And then I'm sitting in front of the computer and the Holy Spirit goes, take the mouse. So I take the mouse. And then I found myself doing SEO. I was like, oh my God, I've done it. So now I can do it 100% on my website. Yesterday, day before, I went there. I didn't learn anything. Is that asking God for my abilities? I went there and I did my SEO as well. And I finished, and Abdul, because he's the one who was meant to do the SEO, I sent him a message and I was like, I've done this, by the way, I've done this, but there are 4, you have to do 37 SEO on the website. So I did 20 something. I think there's 6 or 4 left that he needs to do. I was like, I've done this, my bit. And it gives me joy when I'm learning these abilities, guys. So if you ever tried, if there's a Christian that is watching, try fasting, try asking God to give you your abilities and ask for them. It might take 2 weeks or 1 week. They come out. So now I'm asking the abilities. Now I'm asking everything that belongs to me. 1,000 days. With the dance and the SEO, it was 70 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
70? 70?
Yeah. Yeah, it was 70 days. And when I went, my friends were making fun of me. And when I went on stage, I was like, I can dance like Michael Jackson. I was like, what the heck is going on? And my friend came and said, no, sir, you can dance. You can dance. I was like, neither do I. I can dance it, but I didn't know I can do this. Then I realized actually it's the Holy Spirit like guiding me. I was like, I'm like connecting to some galaxy somewhere. Like I was like hitting it, baby. And with the SEO as well, I'm sitting here, I'm so frustrated, like staying focused. And it was like, stay focused. Then I look at the computer, then I just kept doing it. And I was like, yeah, I've done it. So now I can say you can learn the abilities, but there's one thing that I need to learn is I need to learn this so I can teach people properly. is to make just 1 million in one go, so I can teach everybody else how I've done it. And that's why I'm going for 1,000 days Kamau. And you guys root for me as well. When you're praying, put me in. I know I can do it. It's not going to be easy. I know that. But I know I can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Good, good, good.
Yeah.
We're rooting for you always. So, but
Make it happen. And I
yeah,
think this is one of the key points, is that when it to wrap, in fear, people always think about what they don't want. But if you focus about what you actually want, the fear doesn't have much room in your mind. If you think about what you want, the outcome that you want, if you focus, and this is what I learned, when I was frightened, if you just focus on what you need to do, it'll be fine. If you just focus, your mind gets occupied with that. And as your focus increases on what you want, there isn't room in that glass, in that vessel, for both. So the fear has to subside to allow more focus on what you want. So in life, we always say, don't focus on what you don't want. You get more of what you focus on.
yeah.
Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. If you do that, the other things start to subside. Rationalize. Take a look at the theory. You're being irrational. So you rationalize the facts and focus on what you want, and the fear subsides. I should know, I'm a hypnotherapist and a coach. I hear people's fears all day long.
Yeah.
What I hear, most of it is fear, masked fear. Even bravado and ego, that's fear. That's people just trying to play with their fear, and everybody has it. It's okay to have fear, but just stop and ask yourself, what's going on? Can I manage this fear myself? Can I rationalize it? Can I focus on it? If not, do I need some help? Can someone help me with that fear? If so, reach out, we can help you. And that's just what I wanted to say.
Where can we reach you? If any of the viewers want to reach out to you, where can they? Yeah.
You can reach me on social media. Grant.morell at Instagram is a great way to get me there. If not, you can find me under my name on Facebook and on LinkedIn. You can find me on all the social media links. I'm there, even on TikTok. You can find me there. Many, many places where you can get me, and just reach out and just say the name of the show and can you help me with fear? Or in fact, if it's not fear, if it's something else, because I speak on international stages. I'm a coach, trainer, entrepreneur, international best-selling author, and we help clients all over the world. We help over 15 countries. We help them to increase their profits by up to 200% in just a few short months. This is often by working on various aspects of the fear, their mindset, the fear, what's holding them back, to reduce the fear and get them working in a feeling of joy and love. Because most of the things you've ever achieved in your life, your best moments have been through love, not from fear.
Mm-hmm.
So we start to move you from fear to love, and you achieve more. So you can live a life of freedom, purpose, joy, wealth, and experience, and create a lifestyle and a business or career that can become a legacy for generations to come. That's what my life's purpose is. That's what I do. So if I can help you with that, reach out. Love to help you. Kamal, how about you?
First, I'll leave the audience with the usual quote. Today is not a quote by a specific persona, or for those of you that don't know, I'm a huge fan of Star Wars. So today I will leave you with a quote about fear from Master Yoda. And he said, "Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering." Your choice if you want to suffer your whole life through fear. But again, that's what fear does. It creates these different emotions, and they cause us to live in constant suffering. Remember, pain is real, suffering is optional. That is the truth, basically. Apart from that, if you've enjoyed this, if you want to reach out to me, you can reach me on all of my social medias, which I finally managed to put together as one single name. So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, it's at Life Purpose with Kamal. The only one that I didn't manage was Twitter because it's too long, so I had to be a little bit creative with the name. It's still something related to Life Purpose with Kamal. And you can reach me, of course, on my website if you want to work on the deeper root of fear, and that is how to create a life purpose. I'm not going to help you create that life purpose, but I will lead you towards a foundation where everything aligns with your values, with your beliefs, and create the leading path to the next step of your life, which would be then to hand you over to Grant. I work with ancient Egyptian methodologies that have been going on for centuries and centuries. And I work with NLP and also psychology, positive psychology, and behavioral psychology to help you create that foundation, to create a step-by-step lifestyle that you want to achieve in each area of your life, the ones that you choose to focus on. So as Grant said, you want to reach out to me on one of my social media, say, hey, heard about fear, or yesterday procrastination, just send me a shout out. Nomsa?
Okay, for me, guys, I will just leave you with you are the creator of your destiny, and you can write your story, your past, or color does not differ. It's a background. You can create and rewrite your story and be the person that you want to be. Like Kamal said, everything we do is a choice. We can choose to live in fear, choose to say, you know what? I'm no longer a slave to fear. You can listen to that song online as well. I'm no longer a fear to slave. Who's saying that song? I don't know. So if you type it, you can find it on YouTube. But most of all, guys, life is amazing. Create your own life. Don't worry about what people think, because you see, it's me and Brandon Kamal here. We all have our own destiny. We all have our own talent, and just find a support. And support it in Ngozi Talk Show. We have amazing coaches. You can go to YouTube and subscribe, follow us, be part of the family, and Ngozi Talk Show groups and the page. You can be part of the family as well. And go to Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency if you want to connect with Kamal and Brandon, everybody, and all the coaches there. You can go to Coaches Part and sign up, and there's a calendar there. If you are looking for love, you go to Love's Part and sign up and help you find love. And God bless everyone. Live with grace. We'll see you tomorrow.